Love, Techno, Kant. Bonjour, salam, gumo, hello. This is another episode of Love, Techno, Kant with yours truly, Armin. And thank you for tuning in. I think this episode is going to be fun. I mean, as fun as it can be, right? It's going to be about politics. I think last episode I talked about we can't be free without freedom for everyone. And that led me to think about, okay, maybe I should explain my whole political outlook before I dive deeper into queerness and my lifestyle and everything else, because I feel like in order to understand my lifestyle, you need to understand me and what's going on in my head and my concept of myself. And everything is constitute of my political beliefs, my values of life, and how I even navigate things and how I hold myself accountable, because the basis of my whole thinking is my political belief system. So yeah, I think I'm going to do a 2-part or 3-part episodes about this, since this is such a big topic and I feel like there's so much to talk about, and I feel like I'm going to also have guests over for this specific topic, since it's so broad and so all-encompassing. But yeah, let's start with some questions that I'm going to ask myself regarding my politics. So how do I describe my earliest memories of becoming aware of politics and how I shaped my political awareness? And I feel like it started when I was 17, 18, when I had this strong feeling of being not treated right throughout my life, and having experienced a lot of injustices, getting bullied in school, having felt some sort of otherness, living as a queer migrant person in a rural Bavarian city, but also just being a quirky person with a quirky personality, not being able to fit in, and always trying to fit in. So I made myself believe that I was there. And of course, my perceived reality didn't match with how the world treated me. So I escaped into the world of online, and through a friend I found Tumblr. And on Tumblr there were so many people who were so outspoken about their political beliefs and what they want to fight against, and all these very strong paroles and statements against the state and everything. So I got really hooked into this leftist bubble, this super progressive, super rebellious, communist, anarchist online community, but also simultaneously into this YouTube influencer bubble of mostly Black American women who spoke about racism and spoke about how it is to live as a Black femme in American racist society. And this opened my eyes to so many little things on how society actually works against people, and how it is made to uplift certain people, like white rich men, and how it is benefiting from the oppression of others. Of course, I can now just explain everything in detail, but it's mostly that which led to shaping my worldview. Of course, I wasn't super critical back then, and I just consumed everything because it felt good, and that's what politics is. It you connect to it because it feels good to what you want to hear. And since I've experienced a lot of injustices myself, those stories, those narratives of these people that spoke felt very connecting. And so that's my earliest memory of getting radicalized, of navigating through my life, through the political world of leftism, of communism, of socialism. Was there a particular moment that radicalized you or shifted your leftward? I think since I'm naturally a very, very sensitive person, like I've always felt emotions in a very, very strong way. When I'm mad, I'm super mad. When I'm sad, I'm super sad. When I'm happy, I can be very, very joyful. Um, and whenever I saw something on the TV, on internet, when little children got butchered, when were being starved, when I heard about sexual abuse of women, um, it's it felt like a dagger in my heart every time there was this immense pain, and I even couldn't describe it how it came to be, but I felt such a strong sense of injustice, of why am I allowed to live this life of privilege, and why are people in other countries forced to experience that. And also when I was a little child, I remember seeing people, houseless people on the streets, and then I come home and it starts pouring rain, and I was watching out of the window thinking, oh my gosh, these houseless people are being subjected to the rain. Why am I allowed to be at home? Like this staggering heart in my pain in my heart, was something that really brought me to believe that this world is not just. It's not right for everyone. It's meant to uphold a power system. So I feel like very early on I had this strong sense of justice, which was in my heart, but I couldn't really build off of, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get back to that later. So how do you what core values define your political beliefs today? Throughout my life, I feel like I have come to understand how politics, especially progressive politics, are constituted of. And I narrowed them down to a few single values on which I feel a good political system should be, based off of. And the main one, which is also the main one of my personal belief system, is justice. As I believe justice is something that is all-encompassing, and it transcends respect and tolerance, since tolerance is something that you give someone based off who you think they are, or based off regardless of who you think they are. So if you're respectful towards someone or tolerant towards someone, then that's fine. But if you're just to someone, if you want to be fair to someone, then you think about their past and the future and the dynamics that they're being subjected to. So because of justice, you think of everything before and after, and not just the now. If that doesn't make sense, please DM me, and then I will do a single episode about justice, because I feel like there's so much to talk about. But justice involves reparations, it involves structure, it involves history, it involves the future on how can we prevent injustices, how can we repair injustices in the past, and how can we make sure that everyone's freedom and everyone's happiness is being upheld on the same standard. So I believe justice is the utmost important political core value. The next one is freedom, as I believe freedom allows people to exhibit their personality and their own self without being able to be forced into a box. So that's why I'm also very anti-capitalist, since capitalistic value systems need people to become a worker, especially working class people, become a boss, become a role in order to feed into a system that exploits people in order to enrich other people. I will definitely do another episode on capitalism, because I do believe that the concept of capitalism is being misused a lot of times, and it is also confused with the materialism, which is not something bad inherently. But yeah, so I believe freedom is very important, and it's important to create happiness, because your own personality is the most important thing, and everyone has the same value of freedom. And once we understand that everyone has the same value, then we approach everyone with more respect, since they should be allowed the same freedom as I do. Oops. And another core value is, of course, respect. I don't feel like I need to explain what respect is. The one thing that I want people to understand how I approach respect is a sense of professionality of life. And I feel like we can all be professional because we all exhibit it in some sort of professional setting, especially in our jobs and whatever. So why don't we approach other people with respect? And why isn't respect something that we are being taught by politics, by school, by institutions? So yeah, respect is something that society should uphold and should teach, and respect also means respect to oneself, like self-respect and awareness, and knowing what I should learn in order to respect someone, with a disability, in order to respect someone who comes from a different culture, what it means to have this level of awareness towards another person who's in front of me. Then other forms of political core values are community and solidarity, definitely. Mental health and health in general, which also feeds into respect. But I feel like, again, through capitalism, through the forced level of productivity that we are subjected to, we have this lack of focus on our own health and mental health. And I feel like a good society like a good political system would uphold healthcare and would make it accessible to every person, so that every person can access freedom, because we're only free when you are when healthcare and mental health care and everything surrounding that, food, sleep, housing, etc., is being accessible to you without you having to fight for it. So yeah, I feel like those are my core belief systems, my core beliefs when it comes to politics, and those beliefs also translate into my personal view. But yeah, before I had them translated to my personal life, I had to learn them again through these internet spaces, because most of my life I was online. The last 10 years of my life I was just in Bavaria. Most of my time just spending on the internet and learning stuff, hearing from political speakers and etc. And I really made sure to believe what they told me, because I saw it. Because you can apply to these beliefs, these values, onto the political landscape, and see how they're not being properly used. Especially when you see, modern politicians. What other question? How did living in Berlin influence your political awakening? Oh, interesting. I feel like before I moved to Berlin, I was aware of these political beliefs, and I made myself believe that I was living by them, but I didn't. Politics was also most of the time was something that I just spoke of, and on which I hold myself on a higher moral compass on, because they made me feel good about myself. They made me feel like as if I'm a good person by being this progressive politics person, by talking about these social injustices, by talking about all these things, by being aware of these things, but not living by them. I didn't even know what it means to live by political beliefs, right? To be a person of justice, to be a person of respect and freedom. Like, what does it even translate to in my personal life? I had no idea. I was one day talking about social injustices, about all these things happening in the world, and the next day I cheated on my ex-boyfriend, because my emotions told me to do that, and all my emotions are valid, right? So I wasn't living by these values. I just held them as a projection out to my outside to make people believe, to make myself believe that this is something that I'm supposed to be. So I integrated when I moved to Berlin, and my life was shattered in the beginning, and I didn't quite know what to do and how to navigate my life because my ex-boyfriend left me. I was left without friends. I navigated through drug abuse and partying and whatever. I was left with nothing but my political beliefs at some point. And then I started to realize that I had to live by these morals, because at the end of the day, political values are morals, in order to live a life of integrity and not being subjected to my own impulses and my emotions and things that that felt good but were at the cost of others. And so I started to really work on my social skills, to start be responsible and accountable to what I already preached. So in order to live a life of value, I need to live by what I preach. So because of respect and freedom and justice, I started becoming more just to myself and more free to myself and understanding who I really am. I started going to therapy, and I started to work on my social skills, because if you preach community, then you better respond to people's text messages and start approaching them and be aware of what they are and treat them with respect, even if they're not here, even if you're just thinking about them, because the only person who can hold you accountable to these things is yourself. You're the only one who can measure you. So the only instance in my life, the only person who judges me upon these political beliefs has become myself. And Berlin has become the place to practice that through clubbing, mostly. Like when you're in a clubbing space, you are in a very raw, very it's called like very close community space with a lot of people, very diverse type of people. So once you're educated on awareness and how to treat people respectfully, you can practice that there, and people will notice. Because if you're not aware, people will also notice. So in order to hold myself accountable to my level of awareness or my level of respect and political knowledge about other people, I was basically forced myself to practice these things in the club, to actually gender people right, to understand the cultural differences between others, to stand up for women when they were mistreated in the club. All these things that I've always spoken about, but never really had the guts to do, or never went in a space to do, because I was never forced to do it. But yeah, like it was a practice ground. Also going to protests and really standing up for my beliefs. Like, yes, I can speak about Palestine and Sudan, Congo, Afghanistan, all these countries and all these places where so many injustices happen, but speaking about them, just from my own beliefs, from my own experience, speaking about them wasn't enough. Like I felt like I needed to do something more in order to do that. So Berlin gave me the platform, gave me the spaces to actually be loud and also explore myself. Like I needed to be at these protests to understand that I am a loud person, that I am someone who does things in a very aggressive way as a reaction to injustices. I'm not saying that this is the ultimate way to do it. I'm not telling you to do that the same way. This is all based upon my own experiences. And what I needed to do in order to feel good with myself. And at the end of the day, I am my own moral judge. I will be always the instance that I come back to in order to hold myself accountable. And that's how all these political beliefs have translated into my day-to-day life. So whenever I'm doing a decision, or whenever I'm thinking about something that I want to do or that I did, then I come back to my values, these values that I've already told you. And I'm thinking, is this what I'm doing? Is it just? Is it respectful? Is it leading to freedom of myself or others? Is it community-based? Is it working for mental health and or health? And then I'm deciding upon that. And of course, some areas are more gray and some are more smudged. So you have to decide by intuition and your own knowledge. But in most cases, these are the instances, the beliefs that I hold myself accountable to, and the rest is just my personality. The rest is just my personality, because then I can enjoy my life and go through fun and giggles. Because that's how you find out who you really are, by moments of fun and giggles. So yeah, that's on that. Oh my gosh, there's so much more to talk about when it comes to politics, but I feel like I gave you a little outline of my upbringing and my core beliefs, and I feel like everything is meant to be progressive in this world. We need to work on these value systems in order to reach something in this world, because we can't be led by greed, sorrow, and arrogance. Arrogance is a huge problem in this world. We always believe that we're better than someone else in order to feel good about ourselves. And isolation. We can't be isolated. That's because once we're isolated, once we think that we're other than others, we believe that we are worthy more than others, and then we see others as not human anymore. Because let's not forget, every fucking human on this earth has a whole story behind them, has a whole universe inside of them, and has the same value that I do and that you do. Then how the fuck can we treat them differently than treating ourselves? And on the other hand, understanding that if we fight for justice and if we fight for freedom, why am I not deserving of the same type of freedom and justice than I think the whole world deserves? So let's start by myself and start being more just and more respectful and more standing in solidarity with myself, and set boundaries and hold myself accountable, and hold myself to a standard, because I deserve it and because I am someone of value. Okay, enough preaching. Usually I'm not that strict, but this is the only thing in my whole life that I am very strict and very real about, which is my political and value system. Everything else is fun and giggles, but this is the only real thing about me, and this is something that people should know about me. I am a product of my beliefs. So, kisses to you. I would love to hear messages from your political belief systems and how you differ from me and how you maybe agree with me. And yeah, thank you for listening to me, and sending you much kisses and love. And see you.